If there was one play I could show to describe SGA's game, it would be this right here. First bump early, second bump as he gets to the post, patient, attacks, bumps again in the paint, and gets to a short jumper. How does SGA dominate the game without being overly athletic, being the best shooter on the court, or even having the best ball handling? That's what we're going to take a look at today and understand how he's able to dominate the game and be a generational scorer. The first thing we need to understand is how SGA sees the floor. The first thing he's looking for is in that layup range. He's trying to get to the rim and find the most efficient shot possible. The rest of his game is based on that. Next, he gets to the short range when the defense stops him from getting to a layup. And then finally, he really uses that mid-range. He's a unique player who really dominates in that mid-range. His three ball has come along, but it's not a priority of his. And then, of course, we have Curry range, which is exclusive for a certain type of player. But SGA is probably the best in the short range in the league. What makes SGA such a threat to get to the rim is how he takes angles. He's probably the best in the league at taking sharp angles to the basket and being able to get right to the rim whenever he wants. This puts such pressure on the defense that sometimes they have to overreact and try to take bad angles to try to cut him off from getting to the rim. But then he has every kind of counter. Help side reaching over, he keeps the ball away with a perfect gather. He has every gather you can imagine to be able to get through that defense and be able to knife through that defense cleanly. Take this for example. Low hand means he's going to overhead gather and get right to the rim. He's perfected the art of being able to gather through the defense without having to stop. Notice here he keeps his momentum going to the rim while still attacking downhill. His gathers are so efficient and be able to get through tiny gaps where most offensive players don't even think about driving. What really sets him apart as a finisher is his ability to constantly adapt. Cuts off the initial drive here, cuts off his counter drive, so where's the space? He goes right to it. It almost seems like he knows what the defense is going to do before they even do it. Here he sees the shot blocking threat and he adapts instantly to go to the other side. How do we develop this? By years of training. SGA's driving game is all set up with his ball handling. Take this for example, standing up relaxed, gives him a jab, and bursts to the rim before he can even blink. This is what really sets apart his driving game, is that when the defense now overreacts to cut off that initial drive, is when he has all the counters. Snatch, get straight to the rim. You have to play him so honestly on his initial drive that you have to overreact, because if he gets that initial drive and shoulder into you, it's game over. Take this for example where he snatches AD, gets into perfect body positioning on the snatch. Same thing here, burst, snatch. The reason he's able to get all these snatches is because they're so worried about him taking a great angle to the rim and be able to get all the way to the rim. But it all starts with his pace. Take this for example. My goodness, we gotta run that back. Watch as he's standing straight up and in a non-threatening position to a burst, snatch, and right back into a sprint. That is extreme athleticism and very few players can do that. His ability to completely relax and be able to burst again is what really sets him apart as a ball handler and a finisher. It makes it seem like he's standing still into these burst positions where the defense is completely caught off balance. Watch as he goes from side to side and then straight line drive to the rim and stop on a dime before the defense could even react. He also has all types of different footworks. Here for example, he jabs left, Hezzy gets back to his right hand, and this is super tough to guard. But what sets him apart as a ball handler is his ability to completely relax. Look here as he's standing straight up, and then he goes into a sprint, stop, into this short jumper. This short jumper is where he really makes his money and needs to be studied by every young player. Take this for example, it seems like there's no scoring gaps anywhere at all. They got perfect gap position, perfect help position. So what does he do? He gets into a little bump and just races right over the defense on that short jumper. These short jumpers are so difficult to guard because you can't really help on them. He's on an island against these defenders. Even if they're in good position, all he's looking to do is just raise up over that defense and get the bucket. So how do you really guard this if you can't double? You can't do anything other than just hope he misses, because he's so good at getting into the body and then finding these short jumpers. And he's really comfortable doing it in any type of footwork. Here he goes to the right step back. Next play down, he's off of 1 foot and kind of leaning in this awkward floater. These are super tough shots that need to be practiced for years and years. And a lot of these are just on the fly and just using whatever he needs at that time. It's not pre-planned. He just knows how much space he needs to get a shot off and has every footwork available to him. So he's completely comfortable regardless of the situation because his footwork is perfected in these situations. Being able to stop on a dime with contact or without contact, he's going to get that short jumper off. And if he beats that initial defender, now he's looking at the help side. Once that help side comes over, he has an excellent floater to get it over. So he has every single type of short shot you can imagine, and this is what every young player needs to be studying from his game, is how simple he makes it look. But all of this is set up with his body contact. SGA is one of the best, and people call him a foul baiter. Regardless of how you look at it, he's phenomenal at using his body to create advantages for himself. And this is because he's not a huge vertical threat. And this is another lesson for young players. If you're not a vertical threat, use your body. He uses every part of his body, from his arms, his elbows, his shoulders. He's doing everything possible to find an advantage. Now, are some of these offensive fouls? Now, is he pushing off? He lets the ref decide. However the game's being called, he adjusts to it. Take this play for example. Is this an offensive foul by the letter of the law? Probably. But when you're the most physical player on the court and you're constantly creating contact, the refs tend to let you get away with a lot more. When you combine his physicality with his shooting ability, it's almost impossible to cover at this point. So now the defense is thinking, okay, we can't let him get to the short shot, we can't let him get to the rim, so maybe we'll force him into the mid-range. And this is where he has this high release point, he can get to this shot anytime he wants. And the defense really has no answer for this. And in the modern NBA, these are considered bad shots per se, but he's really bringing it back with the level of efficiency he's doing it with. For example, take this play, cut off, and he's able to just force up this mid-range. This is a tough shot, but he makes these shots on a consistent basis. You can't help on these, and he has all kinds of different footworks to be able to get into these mid-range shots. Now, these are extremely difficult shots. I wouldn't recommend young players base their game off this. This is his weapon he's developed over years and years of practice. But what can be learned from this is his footwork and when he's doing his shots. These are not his first options. These lean back fadeaways are options that he uses late shot clock and when he has nothing else going. SG has also developed a reliable three-point shot, and majority of them are stepping back to the left. He loves this step back or this tap step back to the left, and his majority of the time is when the defense is really gapping him and daring him to shoot these. It just keeps the defense honest, and it's important to understand the scenarios in which he's shooting these. He'll threaten with the drive, he'll threaten with the mid-range, and if he has nothing going, he likes to step back to that left. He also can step back to the right, but majority of his step backs are to the left. And a lot of the times it's when that defense is really stepping back. The best thing to learn from this is to see his footwork and when he's getting into these shots and his balance on these shots. These are, again, difficult shots that need to be practiced. SGA really is a generational talent and is a player that every single young athlete needs to be studying. He's mastered the art of pace, physicality, and the short and mid-range jumper. I hope you enjoyed today's breakdown. Please don't forget in the comments to let me know who else you want to learn about, and I can't wait to share more content with you guys. Appreciate you guys.